I'm going to be pulling back the curtain behind 3 things that I wish that I knew sooner while building my multiple 6-figure business that would have helped me immensely. And I want to share them with you over these next days because I find that the conversations that are happening online right now, which are important conversations but a bit limited, is around the magnetism and the feminine mastery of business. That if we just feel aligned enough, turned on enough, magnetic enough, that we're going to be able to create anything that we want, including abundant, wealthy, pleasured businesses. And even though this is absolutely one part of a very, very important conversation, where as female entrepreneurs, we want to move away from this kind of constant hustle, endless to-do lists, and this stress mode into being fully magnetic, radiant, and attracting from that place. I found that the conversations have also been a little bit limited. And one of the things that feels really, really important for me in any of the work that I do, whether it's supporting female entrepreneurs to grow your businesses, whether it's supporting you to have more intimacy and pleasure in your life and in your body, it doesn't matter. What I love to do and how I love to do it is to really be really brutally and, well, not always brutally, but like really revealing and honest with how it really has been for me and what it really is like to build the journey. Because there's so many layers to it. So feminine magnetism alone isn't going to work. Hustle alone isn't going to work. But the alchemy of learning how to grow your business from a place of turn on while having not only aligned action, but strategic action is going to help you go further, not only faster, but with way more joy and pleasure. So part of what I'm going to be revealing over these next 3 days are 3 kind of keys that I had wished somebody had told me way back when I was starting my business. It would have saved me so much effort and time and frustration, and also given me some really good mentorship. So each of these days, I'm going to base it from questions that I've been getting from you. And if you have any more questions as I go, please feel free to comment. I keep my eye on that and I'll answer your questions today about what it really takes to build a multi-6-figure business and above. And I tend to be really a wide open book. So I really believe that we learn from each other, and also that if you can learn from some of my mistakes that I've made, I'm super, super happy to share them with you. And that when we come forward with the truth of what is, rather than trying to sell you or each other on only the joy, the glory, the light, that actually we get to have these really deep, honest conversations that actually will make big shifts. So this is really the intention of these 3 days. It's also going to give you a taste of my upcoming program called Feminine Leadership Mastery, which is a 12-week online group coaching program, small group with me and one of my favorite people. She's a core person on my team, Robin Savage, who's the founder of The Brand Is You Co. And together we bring over 25 years of entrepreneurial experience building multiple businesses at the multi-6-figure and 7-figure business level. So we're really excited to be able to offer this to a small group of women. We start on March 18th. I'll share more about that later. But I just wanted to let you know that if this conversation and the ones that we're going to have over the next few days is sparking something in you, then absolutely please reach out, DM me, and we can have a chat about whether or not this is a great program for you. All right, so today I'm going to talk about holding the vision even when things are wavering. I'm going to give you some real life examples, some kind of vulnerable examples also of what's happening inside my business currently, as well as in the past, to hopefully give you some key takeaways for how to hold steady in your business as you're growing, no matter what stage you are at, when the outside is uncertain. So real tangible point. About 15 years ago, I started out as a yoga teacher, and I was going from like yoga studio to yoga studio, offering my classes, brand new teacher, brand new studio spaces, many of them. And really at this point where I was refining my gifts. I had a lot of practice teaching to get done. And as a new teacher, of course, it was like, first, just terrifying to even teach a class. So maybe you're a coach and you've got your first client, or you've got an event that you're putting on, and you're wondering, like, is anybody going to come? Is anybody going to come, and how are the tickets going? Am I going to have enough people attending my masterclass or my yoga class or whatever it is? What if only one person shows up? I have this question all the time. What if only one person shows up? What if no one shows up? It's almost like if nobody shows up, okay, then good. Nobody has to know. And I just like close up the door. I do my own practice or whatever, and I leave. All good. But what if only one person shows up? What does that mean about me? What if 3 people show up? What if 7 people show up? What if nobody shows up, right? So this question of how many people are going to want what I have to give can be so tied to our own sense of self-worth that we consume a lot of energy around worrying if anybody is going to like it or want what we have, rather than really focusing your energy on what is it that people really want? What are people really, really coming for? To understand that deeply, which takes some market research and some experience to try. What is it that you really have to give? And to tap into that and not dilute your message. But then also, one of the key things that a mentor of mine had shared with me was, no matter if one person shows up in the class or 1,000 people show up in the class, you show up. You show up for it. And that includes and requires you to tap into the real why of why you do what you do. That no matter if one person shows up, are you going to shift your energy? Are you going to show up less? If you wanted 100 and one shows up, are you going to only give yourself 1%? Or are you going to give that one person 100% no matter what? And this is what got me through so many moments of not knowing if anybody was going to show up for my classes or the things that I had to offer. So holding really steady to your vision is big. Now, the next thing you might say, because this is where my mind goes, is, okay, well, great when the stakes are low, right? So if I'm teaching a class in my living room and whether somebody shows up or not doesn't really matter, okay, fine, the stakes feel low. But what happens if you're planning a retreat? So for example, like I just did in Mexico, and I'm going to give you a real life example about this wavering moments inside my own business and what actually surprisingly happened at the end, which I would never have guessed. So leading a retreat is a bit of a different high stakes game. You're booking off not only time, but location. People who are registering with you are booking flights and holiday times. And there's also often big deposits involved when you're wanting to reserve a retreat space for a group that you don't know whether it's going to happen or not. I've been leading retreats for about 12 years. I've led over 100 retreats all around the world, and I've gone through this process a lot. And let me tell you, sometimes I run a retreat and it's like, boom, it fills. Other times it's like crickets. And we're like, where are the people? And it can be confusing sometimes, because if you've ever done this before, you're going to have a whole bunch of people saying, I would love to come to Mexico with you. When is your next retreat? I'm going to book that right away. And nobody is ever confirmed, by the way, until they have their deposit down. That's what I learned. So you can have a lot of interest, you can do your market research and all of these things, but at the end of the day, you are the one who's putting out the risk and then also getting the potential reward, right? So as an entrepreneur, I always say it's not for the faint of heart, because you have to hone in on your stability and anchor into your vision. Without that, the amount of wavering that's going to happen is going to be so immense that it's going to consume all of your energy, and you're going to go into lack mentality, scarcity, right? And actually lose the energy, the momentum, juice, and turn on that it requires to also continually, consistently show up for what it is that you're trying to create. So again, real life example, Mexico. I had, I've used this as a case study for you. So Mexico has been on my mind for about a year. I had a really fantastic organizer who'd organized a previous retreat with me before. We had wanted to get this going in May of 2024. Life happens, we didn't get in touch. We didn't get things going until September. We worked for 2 months together, and then she just realized her priorities needed to be with her family, and she could no longer continue with this project. It's October. We wanted to run the retreat in January. So starting to realize pretty quick, okay, this is a quick turnaround for this retreat time. So let's extend the retreat. Let me find a new organizer to help me set up all of the logistics for it. And then we'll take it from there. So, grace of the goddess brought a wonderful woman, Alexa, into my field. We found a place, we found a location. We had a huge waiting list of like 25 people who had said, when is your next retreat? I want to get on that waiting list and I'm going to come. So we had a pretty good feeling that this retreat was going to fill up really easily. Well, guess what? I booked the retreat. It was literally like my deposit was like $13,000, handed over before any signups happened. There was more to deposit after that. But that was part of the minimum. It was $18,000, to put down deposit. We rented out a very nice place, extraordinary. With all of these expenses, it was a risk because at the end of the day, I don't know if anybody is actually going to show up for it. But I believed in the vision. I wanted to be at this location. I could visualize us all there. And we had good people on the waiting list. So we said, okay, let's go ahead. So we go ahead instantly. 3 people jumped in right away, literally hit the link to send the email and then boom, 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 3 registrations. Okay, great. We're feeling super good about it. And then for a while, it was like nobody. It was like all of these people who were supposedly so interested in it was like, oh, I can't make the days work anymore, or I put my money somewhere else, or whatever. All these reasons that they couldn't come. So we had very few months to fill this retreat. And of course, there were moments when we're like, okay, how do we take aligned action? It wasn't like we put out a retreat and we're like, okay, I'm going to surrender. I'm going to trust. I'm going to do my self-pleasure practices and my bubble bath, which I do. But that alone is not going to fill a retreat. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people might be a little bit controversial. I have not seen that alone fills my events. That absolutely supports to keep me in my radiance, my juice, my turn on, my magnetism, out of stress into pleasure, all of those things. Of course, we do that. And that alone will not move the needle on your business. It has to come with aligned action. So what did we do when we had 3 people and we needed 8 to meet the minimum numbers, right? To break even on the retreat. So then we took aligned action and was like, all right, so how can we make what are the personal outreaches? What are the different ways that we can connect? What are the communities that we want to be a part of? We revisited my marketing, right? The website, is it making sense? Is there anything that's glitchy? We, as a team and as myself from my heart, really put all of our efforts and care, not from a place of stress, not from a place of pushing, but really feeling into how and who would I most love to be there, truly, and tap into that field and that frequency. So from that place, a few more people ended up joining us, which was excellent. And some of these women were one of them was my private client who I'd been working with for over a year and hadn't met in person yet. So that was extraordinary. I had another woman jump in who's been a part of my membership. She comes alive for 4.5 years. 4.5 years. We've been on online sessions, and that was the first time that I got to meet her in person. It was so fun, so juicy. And at the end of the day, all expenses included. Again, totally peeling back the curtain for you right now. Super honest conversation. We barely broke even on my Mexico retreat. Now stay tuned because I'm going to share with you what happened after that was a super shocker. But in that moment, it was okay, barely break even. I may have lost $500 or something like that, right? And that's not including my time, my team's time, all of that. However, did I show up at a minus percentage for the people who came because I didn't make the revenue that I wanted? Of course not. That wouldn't even be a thought. You show up, just like I was talking about in the early yoga class days, you show up 100% of the time, all the time. No matter if one person shows up, or 8 people show up, or 50 people show up. You show up with your fullness. And I had actually a client, my private client, ask me and say, like, over the retreat, so I know that you were hoping for a few more people for this retreat. Like, how are you feeling? I was like, honestly, I haven't even thought about that again. Like, before, of course, we put in aligned action and strategic planning and, energy and juice into it. But at the end of the day, I show up and we operate from a place of gratitude. I mean, I got to spend 5 days with incredible women watching massive transformations, from women going from super tamed to untamed, from numb to alive, from like feeling dead inside to feeling so radiant and juicy. Like, the transformations were epic. That alone filled my cup. And my best friend was there, who I got to co-facilitate with, who we got to share more time together, deepen our sisterhood. Amazing. I was nourished by nature. Incredible. Food cooked for me. Outstanding. Like, everything operates in my world is gratitude, right? So that is the place that I resource and give from a place of overflow, not from a place of lack. Now, this conversation and the surprise that happened around holding your vision, even when the outside world is wavering, even when I had people like my partner at one point, was like, well, are you thinking about canceling the retreat? Like, maybe you should. That's your time. That's your resources. And it's like, yeah, of course, that's a very reasonable question to ask, And at the same time, I was like, no, because I believe in the bigger vision of Untamed. And I know that if I'm going to hold the bigger vision of what Untamed is in the world globally for empowering women all around the world, that includes sometimes taking risks. And sometimes that we don't win every single time in one way, every time we offer something. But how do you hold steady to the vision? Well, guess what? At the end of the retreat, we had such an extraordinary time. We had 7 participants who were there. A break-even event, yeah? 6 out of 7 of them have now already registered for their next Untamed retreat with me. One of them has already booked her flights. It's in December, the one that she's going to do. Another one of these women jumped into Alchemy of Business, which is my group coaching business training. Another one of them is thinking about taking Feminine Leadership Mastery, which is launching on Tuesday. And who knows what will ripple effect from there. So even though this one standalone event may not have achieved the financial goal that I imagined, holding steady to the bigger vision on that level actually then all made sense because of the back-end sales that happened. So I share this with you because a lot of times the conversations that I'm hearing online is like, just be in your turn on, be magnetic, trust, surrender, receive, work on your money story, everything's going to work out. And for me, it's a yes and. Yes, all of that is important. We're going to look at that for sure. If you're going to work with me, we're going to look at that 100%. And the conversation doesn't stop there. We also look at what happens when things don't work the way that you imagined. Are you just going to sit back, sit in your bubble bath and hope for the best? Or are you going to do that and at the same time, take strategic aligned action and also hold your vision so clear throughout the whole thing that, and dare to also share your vision also with people in your world so that the right opportunities can magnetize towards you, and also can you show up with not like 110% of everything that you've got from this place of overflow. And then you watch the magic that happens afterwards when you just show up and do a really fucking great job and you do what you know how to do. You support clients and people in your world to have the transformations that they most desired, and maybe more, often more. And you really just show up with all of you got, and then you watch the magic that happens after that. So this is what I wanted to share. Again, totally behind the scenes curtain on my multi-six-figure business that I've grown. I've learned so many lessons along the way. I feel like conversations like this don't often happen on Instagram, Facebook, because it almost feels like, for many people, too vulnerable to share. Like, I might probably have some people being like, I can't believe that you shared that, shared what I did today. Is that the right thing? Is that the right strategy? Was that the right move? But for me, this is how I operate, is through transparency, through being a really open book, to have real, rich, deep conversations about what's really happening for you in your life, your relationships, and your business, because this is the place where we can actually see what is here, and then we've got things to work with. And then I can, have tons of tools, strategies, templates, launches, like all of that we can work with. Yeah. But first, it's really to open the door on behind the scenes of what's really happening. So if you've got any questions, any thoughts, any insights, aha moments, please pop them into the comments. I'm going to stay on for a little bit more to answer some of those. And if this is a conversation and these types of conversations are really exciting you, then I really would love to welcome you to Feminine Leadership Mastery, which is my new online course. It is 12 weeks. It's going to dive into all of these elements that we talked about, both the feminine energetics of making sure that you are well resourced to be the most radiant version of you that you can, so that you can magnetize and you operate from a place of overflow. And we are also going to bring in the strategy sorry, I'm just reading comments here, so I'm slightly distracted. We're also going to bring in the strategy, the business skills, the dedication and the devotion of what it takes to also grow a business on the strategic level. So a lot of feminine energetics paired with masculine business skills, paired with deep dive mentorship, where you're going to get me, as well as my dear friend and core person on my personal team, Robin Savage, founder of the brand Is You Co. And together we bring over 25 years of feminine-led leadership and entrepreneurship. We've both built multi-six-figure businesses and seven-figure businesses from her. So we've got a lot to be able to share from our mistakes, which we hope that we can shed light on so that you don't have to make them, and also our expertise on how to really grow this. So we're really looking forward to it. We start on March 18th, which is this Tuesday. We have a few spots left, so absolutely jump in on it. And if you want more details, or if you want to send me a DM and just have a quick chat and see if it's the right fit for you, either send me a DM or just write FLM in the comments, and I'll reach out and we can answer any questions that you have. Thank you for your sharing. You're so welcome. Thank you for my openness. It was helpful and motivating. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for your transparency. You're so welcome. So I think one of the things is, today I really wanted to share about this, the Mexico retreat as an example, because it's very relevant and very real, And also we've had also other examples, of course, of launches that went amazing, right? Even more than I could have imagined. I remember when I launched my membership, back then it was called Wild Women Temple. Now it's called She Comes Alive Global Community. And when we first launched it, I was hoping for 15 people, to join my global membership, which would have been amazing. When we launched it, it was incredible. It was from this place of inspiration and overflow, again, wanting to give back to a global community that I had I always only ever create things that I am ecstatic to be a part of. I would want to be a participant in that. Otherwise, why would I create it, So from that place, we did a launch for my membership, and guess what? Not 15 people, but my partner and I still remember this day. We were heading out to a party Saturday night with our friends in Switzerland, and we were like, all right, launched, hit the email, sent it out, and hoping for 15 people. And we were literally like, our phones were buzzing as we drove out to our friend's place. We're like, is this for real? And it was just like bing, 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 you know, and in that launch, we actually sold 127 memberships. It was the first time I ever launched that. That was like significantly more than I could have ever imagined. So things like this also get to happen when you hold steady to a vision, you do the research, you put in the work, you put in your heart, and then at some point you surrender and you let it go, but you hold steady to the vision. And many times it can be even more extraordinary than you could have ever imagined, right? So there's many different examples of this. I've been launching programs for over a decade now. I don't even know how many programs I've launched at this point, but every time, let me tell you, there is something new that I learn, something that I adjust, something that I add. So no matter whether you are at the very beginning of your business journey right now with a great idea and you don't know where to start and you need some help, well, then Alchemy of Business would be a great program for you. So DM me about that. But if you've already got a business going or you're a leader in your field and you really want to step up into your next level of feminine magnetism as well as strategic alignment to be able to grow your business to 6 figures plus, FLM is really the best place for you right now. So again, super excited. If you've got any questions, again, comments on this chat, just pop it into the comments. I'll stay on for a few more minutes. And otherwise, I'm going to come back on tomorrow to talk about another topic. I'm just going to take a peek here because I've got it written out. So I'm going to talk about tomorrow how to show up when your life and your feelings are really, I don't want to say getting in the way, but kind of. So when your personal life is going through turbulent moments, how do you continue to show up for your business so that your business doesn't suffer from that, while at the same time being able to have your personal life, your feelings, and your emotions? So that's going to be the topic of tomorrow. I'm excited to talk about that because, again, over 15 years of entrepreneurship means that I've been through divorces, I've been through losses and deaths, I've been through moving of countries, I've been through COVID, I've been through deep illness, like all of these things, and how to make sure that you've got the strategy and the systems in place for your life to be able to happen without your business totally collapsing if you are collapsing. Yeah, so that's going to be the hot topic for tomorrow. And then on day 3, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite conversations that has helped, so many people, especially my private clients, really move the needle on financially in their business, which is about selling. I used to cringe at the thought of selling. I don't know if anybody's like that, but like, if you're like that, I get it. So selling for me had always previously felt really icky, something I didn't want to do and I shied away from until I really understood and tapped into how selling can be as a service rather than something that feels really icky. But it takes aligning yourself from the inside to really know what it is that you have to offer, to be able to make powerful invitations, not from the place of needing anybody to do anything, but really deeply from a place of sharing and calling in the people that most want to work with you, and not only at like low ticket sales levels, but really high ticket sales. So for example, one of my private clients, Sabina, who has given me permission to share about her work, I supported her in private business coaching, and we were able to shift her from charging $250 for single sessions to now charging over $7,000 for her mentorship. And guess what? She is booked out. She has a waiting list. Our next challenge now is, what do we do with her wait list? Great challenge to have. So I'm going to peel back the curtain also on that topic. That one's coming up on Saturday. So definitely join me for these. I hope that this is of great value. Let me know if this was supportive for you. And again, if you have any questions about feminine leadership, about growing your business that is deeply heart-led and soul-led, just pop them into the comments, send me a DM, and I am going to try and get to them as much as I can. All right. I see that a few of you are still on, so I'm just going to take this moment to share one last time about Feminine Leadership Mastery and also what's inside. So inside this group coaching program starting on March the 18th, it is 12 weeks with myself and Robin Savage. We're going to do weekly live coaching calls, which means that you get us in real time And we've mapped out the program for the 12 weeks, but of course, because we are feminine leaderships, we will ship people. We will also see where you are at in your journey, and we will of course always meet the needs of where our group is. Right now it's going to be limited in space, so you're going to get like, you're not going to be in a group of like hundreds and thousands of people where we don't know you. Like, we're going to have a personal relationship in this group, and you'll get not just mine, but both of our expertise and eyes on you and the ways that you are developing in your feminine leadership mastery, both in your life and in your business. So that is the weekly coaching calls. And then they are all recorded. Of course, if you have to miss it, or you will probably want to go back into them because they're going to be so juicy and rich. So you'll have those recordings for life. You also get a vault access to recorded pieces that aren't published anywhere else, that are recorded specifically for feminine leadership mastery. And then this is really where the gold is, I find, not to be underrated, is that in between our calls, you also get access to our private Telegram group, where you get Robin and I's eyes on you, your work, for feedback, for questions, all of that, as well as from each other. So you know that you're in really, really good company if you're inside FLM with other female leaders who are doing this work, who want to see you shine, who are rooting for you, going to give you feedback. All of this is going to be absolutely incredible. So that is Feminine Leadership Mastery. All of the details are in my link in bio. But again, it starts March 18th. And DM me if you want more info. Just DM me FLM. I'll send you the link right away to make it super easy for you. All right, got a question in here. What time are you going live tomorrow and Saturday? So I'm going live at the same time as I did today. It is 12 noon Pacific. It is 3 p.m. Eastern New York time. And it's 8 p.m. in Central Europe time. So now, I hope that answers your question. And I'm going to go live tomorrow as well as on Saturday. Also, if you're joining me for these lives on Saturday, just to let you know, we're also going to do a super special bonus. So if you're showing up live today, tomorrow, Saturday, and also commenting or sending me a DM or something like that, we're seeing you, and that would be great. And we're going to enter you into a draw also for one of my programs. So that's super exciting as well. So make sure that if you can, join me live tomorrow on Friday as well as on Saturday, and we'll do more behind the scenes, real deal conversations about feminine leadership and growing a business, okay? All right, so I will leave it here for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I hope this was super, super helpful, and I look forward to chatting more again tomorrow. Okay, bye for now.